Hey guys, John Jr. here, bringing you guys another Pokemon video. Today we are doing a competitive analysis on Iron Valiant. Before we get into that though, you guys know the drill. Only about 25% of you guys are subscribed to the channel, so if you scroll down below and there is a red subscribe button, you can go ahead and click it absolutely free, and it helps me out and you get to be notified for my videos. You might as well leave a like while you're down there as well. It really helps me and shows me that you guys enjoy the content that I am pushing out. And before I actually get into the video, I also want to say I've been having crazy support on the last 3 competitive analysis. It's been insane. Actually, the Slitherwing video is one of my most viewed videos of all time. I think it's at number 3 now, and it is on pace to pass my game versus Wolfie with their Z-Rain Dance Milotic. So shout out if you remember that game, by the way. But again, thank you guys so much for that support, and let's go ahead and get into this analysis. Iron Valiant is a new Pokemon introduced in Pokemon Violet. This is a future Pokemon and one of the rarer ones at that. And the whole draw with this Pokemon, and the reason that everybody likes it so much, is it is our first fairy and fighting type, and offensively that is an insane typing. The only real type that has any chance against those 2 typings is going to be like a defensive poison type, which it does get Zen Headbutt and Psychic and Psyshock for. Defensively, fairy fighting isn't a very good typing. It actually does not help itself at all. It actually only adds weaknesses as far as I'm aware, no real resistances to each other's weaknesses. So it has a total of 5 weaknesses, which is not great, but offensively this type is absurd. And you look at this Pokemon's stats, it has 74 HP, 130 attack, 120 special attack, and 116 speed. And the attack, special attack, and speed are what you're really looking at. It also has a fine 90 defense and 60 special defense. So the special defense kind of blows, but it has access to Calm Mind, so it's able to boost past those and kind of make it usable in some way. The first set of moves that we are going to go over is going to be Moonblast, Aura Spear, Close Combat, and Spirit Break. It does not get Play Rough, unfortunately, but it does have that 100% accurate Spirit Break, also lowering the opponent's Spadef, which is, or special attack, excuse me, which is very nice for this Pokemon who has super low special defense. Iron Valiant gets the stabs it needs, but now it's about the coverage and the setup options, so let's go ahead and go over those. As far as forms of setup options go, it gets kind of what it needs. It does not get Nasty Plot, unfortunately, but it does get Agility to boost the speed in case you want to run Modest, Adamant, whatever, Booster Energy. We'll talk about that a little bit later. It has Calm Mind to boost the special attack, and then it has Swords Dance to boost the attack. And then it does get Encore, which is kind of a niche status move. I couldn't really find another status move that I felt was better than Encore in this situation. You are faster than a lot of things, so you can Encore something that maybe you can set up on into a move that doesn't really hit you, and then you can Swords Dance or Calm Mind in his face, sub, agility, whatever the case may be. So I think Encore definitely has a niche. It's also my favorite move in the game, so I'm a little biased. The next set of moves we're going to talk about might be the last set of moves. I'm not entirely sure. We have Zen Headbutt, Psyshock, Knockoff, and Poison Jab. So Poison Jab's there to hit the fairies. That might switch it on you because Psychic does fine damage, but it resists your fighting type moves. Psyshock and Psychic are there for the poison types. It also has Psychic, or I mean Zen Headbutt and Psyshock, and it also has Psychic as well as Psyshock. You're usually going to run Psyshock at least on the ladder for Clodsire though, and then you also have Knockoff, maybe to punish like a switching in Corviknight or something like that. Knock off its items, prevent leftovers recovery, maybe knock off something's boots, things like that. There are 4 more moves that I do want to go over, and there's going to be Stored Power. Can really help with the boosting sets. A lot of these sets are going to be either choiced or boosting in some fashion. So Stored Power can really help out there. We have Taunt. I didn't even see Taunt. When I would put Encore there, I probably would have put Taunt over Encore and put Encore here. But Taunt is really nice. Prevent setup. Prevent yourself from getting Thunder Wave, Toxic Willow. You know the deal. Shadow Sneak there for a good Swords Dance priority. And then Trick for your choice variants. And those are going to be the moves that I'm going to go over. Again, this thing's move pool super deep. You can take a look on Showdown for yourself. It's a lot of really cool moves. It also gets like Energy Ball, Focus Blast, Thunderbolt, things like that. So take a look. But now let's go ahead and get into some usable sets. I do have 6 sets for you guys here. There are a lot more sets that you could probably run, but these are probably the 6 best sets. So the first set I have here is going to be Choice Specs, Aura Spear, Moonblast, Psyshock, and Trick. Aura Spear plus Moonblast hits the majority of the Paldea Index. Psyshock is there for things it doesn't. We are Psyshocked over Psychic, specifically for Clodsire. And Trick, if you do want to get rid of your item, maybe late in the game, it's better if you can switch out moves and you don't need the Choice Specs boost. So I think I put Trick on there specifically for that. The only problem with this Iron Valiant and just choice Iron Valiants in general, especially on the ladder, is that Clodsire plus Corviknight does a pretty good job of beating these 2 Pokemon, and those are, or beating this Pokemon, and those 2 Pokemon are pretty common from what I've seen on the ladder. So as far as Draft League goes, this Pokemon's crazy. Choice Specs are going to be awesome. Choice Band's going to be awesome. As far as the ladder goes, at least right now, there are probably a couple of better options than Iron Valiant. Choice Band is going to be the next set that we're going to go over. We are Close Combat, Spirit Break, Knockoff, and Trick. I chose Knockoff in this slot instead of Zen Headbutt because you can punish the Corviknight, knocking off its leftovers, switching in, and then it does not resist Close Combat, and taking 2 is not going to be something that it really wants to do, especially once you get your hazards up, and because Corviknight is forced in a whole lot in this metagame, it only has 8 roosts, so you can really punish it by just knocking off its leftovers. The next one we're going to have is just Life Orb 3 attack. We are SD, Close Combat, Spirit Break, and Zin. This time I decided to go Zin because if you get to +2 with Life Orb, I'm pretty confident that you can kill or at least make a giant dent in a Corviknight kill after rocks. I'm not sure on the exact calc. I do think SD Life Orb is a very good set. I do think the choice sets are probably better, but obviously if you're in a draft league setting, it depends on the matchup. We're going to get into some cool sets now. So Booster Energy Agility is a really usable set on this Pokemon. Actually, might be my personal favorite set. We have Booster Physical and Booster Special. We're going to go over Booster Physical first. So for those of you that do not know how Booster Energy works, it automatically activates the ability of Paradox Pokemon. Paradox Pokemon all have the same ability, future and past. Specifically, there are two different ones there, Quirk Drive and I forget the past one off the top of my head, but Quirk Drive, what it does is when electric terrain is active, it boosts your highest stat. If it's an offensive stat by 1.3 times, if it's speed by 1.5 times. So offensive or defensive stat, I suppose. So you basically can get a Life Orb boost with this Booster Energy without taking the recoil once it's activated. Booster Energy automatically activates that ability, automatically activates Quirk Drive, and you immediately get that 1.3 times boost. It uses up the item, it's single use, so this is kind of like an in-game sweeper, but if you get in a position where you can just click agility, outspeed everything, maybe outspeed potential Scarfers, this set is going to be really nice. You do have to make sure for these sets, especially for Iron Valiant, that you are either adamant or modest, which you probably would be anyway because you're agility, but because Booster Energy makes, and Quirk Drive, I guess, boost your highest stat. And you don't want your speed to be higher than your offensive stats, and if you are timid or you are jolly, it is. So you want to make sure that you're adamant in this case. So we have agility, close combat, spirit break, and Zen headbutt. Close combat plus spirit break, it's everything pretty much for at least neutral damage, and then Zen headbutt for those pesky poison types. And then we go over to Booster Special, and it's the exact same concept here: agility, Moonblast, Aura Spear, and Psyshock. Kind of just up to preference which one you guys prefer. I do think that this definitely has some viability on the ladder. I haven't tested it out myself, but it definitely seems like a good late game win con, and maybe I'll build a team around this actually, because I really like this set and I really kind of want to see it work. And the last set I want to go over here is going to be an old fan favorite, Sub Calm Mind, 2 attacks. Dual Stab are very good if you can build a team around this Pokemon that deals with the things it doesn't like Clodsire, Corviknight, any poisons, or really bulky Pokemon that just take neutral damage. You're going to have a fun time with this in the back. But yeah, let me know your guys' favorite set that I showed you down below, and any sets that you might run that I didn't talk about here. And I gotta be honest, Iron Valiant really surprised me from making this video. I learned a whole lot about it. I learned that it is so much more versatile than I initially expected it to be. It blew me away actually with the amount of moves it had, the amount of sets it could run, and I really think this is a very good Pokemon, and it's probably, in my opinion, one of the top 4 new Pokemon introduced. The other 3 being Roaring Moon, Flutter Mane, and Chien-Pao. Chien-Pao we'll go over a little bit later, but with all that being said, make sure to leave a like if you guys enjoyed, and there should be a video in the top right corner right now that you guys could check out. And for now, guys, this has been John Jr. signing off.